What's going on, everybody? Welcome. This is episode 4. Episode 4, BRAZZLE show. Thank you so much for checking in. You guys have been following me. Had a great, amazing interview a couple days ago with Don. Um, Learned a lot. Posted a lot of. I posted a couple pictures on social media, so make sure you go check those out. Like. If you have comments, comment below. He was an amazing person to bring onto the show. Like I said, I learned a lot and a lot of information. But today we have some technical difficulties.
No, it's fine. It's just you're leaning.
Oh, okay. Cool. We good? All right. So today's guest, everyone's always asking me, who's behind the camera, who's making the moves, who's filming everything, who's making sure production's going well. So today I'm bringing on to the show the one and only unorthodox genius to the BRAZZLE show. Everybody welcome unorthodox genius. He's getting his chair straight.
What's happening? I'm usually behind the camera, and we were gonna have a guest, and so I wasn't prepared to be on TV on the camera.
Yeah, so we were gonna have that's fine. Our guest that didn't show up today had some unforeseen circumstances, so I decided to bring on the man behind the camera. We're having some technical difficulties. Okay, we're
We're
good.
not having technical difficulties. I'm just making sure everything is good because I'm in front of the camera and I'm behind the camera at the same time.
All right. So what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. This show. That's what's going on.
Introduce yourself. I know I said your alias.
My name is Marceau Lewis, aka Bolt Speedman. That's my alter ego. And my brand is called Unorthodox Genius because I'm weird and I'm quirky and I'm a homebody and I'm introverted and stuff like that. So that's unorthodox. And then the genius part is because I'm the greatest thing that the earth has ever seen. I'm creative. I put this show together. Well, with the help of Brack, I put this show together. I do photography, videography. I play the hell out of some Xbox, graphic design. I'll get your social media popping, and I have the craziest good ideas that anybody's ever had in the history of existence. So that's where Unorthodox Genius comes from. And then I put that together with my man BRAZZLE, and we're trying to take over the world. So we're like on step 2, I think, of like taking over the world. So yeah.
So where do you get your creativity from?
The internet, number one.
Did it come from your mom or your dad?
I don't know. That's
Which one
a
was
good.
more creative?
That's a good question. My dad is like crazy. Like he's a wild animal. So I think like a lot of times I would just see my dad. My dad is real resourceful. He's the type of dude that thinks that duct tape can fix anything. And he always used to have like a toolbox with like a whole bunch of shit from projects that he would be working on. And it would be stuff that like didn't go together. And so he would just like something would be broke, so he would just like pull something out of the toolbox and like fix it with that. And like I don't know, I've always been like this. Like I never had Legos as a kid, but I always had Connects. If anybody knows what Connects are, that was my early addiction. But I used to take because I'm the oldest of my brothers, so I used to take my brother's pamper boxes and I used to like duct tape them to the skateboards that we had, and because my grandfather used to live way out in the country on this hill, and so his driveway was like this long piece of blacktop, and we would just the most unsafe thing you could do is street luge with no pads or helmet or anything. And so we used to take skateboards and do it. And then I got this crazy idea. I was like, I'm going to take like milk crates. And then I used to take, because the Huggies pamper box was like, that was some tough cardboard. And so it was like, well, we don't have any pads or anything like that.
So where did you get the creativity from?
That's what I'm saying. I've just always had it. Like,
So
I don't
partly
really know where
from
it came
your dad.
from. Yeah, I would say
He
from my
gave you
dad,
the
yeah.
duct tape thing to
And my
do
mom
something.
was just more of like the cerebral type of thing. Like, you need to be thinking about what you're doing. Like, you need to get knowledge and you need to use your brain. So I'm just like, I think it's like a thing of both, but I think more creatively it comes from my dad.
When did you decide, or when did you discover that you wanted to be Well, you got so many different hats. But
I
when
know.
did you decide that you wanted to be a cameraman or videographer or photographer? When did that come apart?
I was in high school and I always saw stuff late. Like, or no. I always saw stuff early, and I felt like everybody else was seeing it late. So like when we used to walk into my high school, it was a long hallway, and when the bell would ring, that bitch would fill full of people. And so I always saw that as like a scene. It was like the way that the hallway was, and so it would just be people doing. And you know how high school is just a bunch of cliques and shit like that. And I'm like, that's a photo you can put on the wall. That's a video. Blah 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 blah. And the very first camera that I ever bought was a blue Vivitar, one of those like plastic shitty cameras from the drugstore. In that plastic that'll cut your hand open if you don't do it the right way. And ever since then, I've just been like fascinated by the fact that you can take a photo of somebody and like color it and crop it all up and shit like that, and cut them out and put them here. And my mom got a computer from CompUSA. I'll never forget. I've always had like laptops and shit like that, but my mom got like this really nice desktop from CompUSA. I don't even know if CompUSA is still around anymore. They were like strictly computers, like Circuit City. And she got the computer, and she used to get pissed at me because I used to get on there and just be on there for hours. Like I used to be playing internet pool. When LimeWire was around, when LimeWire and Morpheus was around, I was downloading all types of viruses unbeknownst to me because I was the only person at my school that didn't know that you could download music. I used to put the tape recorder. My mom bought me a tape recorder to record my lessons for math because I am terrible at math. So she was like, record the lessons with this tape recorder. So what I used to do was I used to take the tape recorder and put it next to the radio and record like Petey Pablo and Sierra and shit like that. And she'd be like, what the hell are you doing? So when she got the computer, that was when I learned about Morpheus and all that shit. Man, I was back in the day. Man, that was when YouTube.
How old were you?
Oh man, like 13 or 14. My brother was like 6 or 7.
Okay. So you got that passion, that dream. So tell me from okay, we done with high school at 18. So from 18 to now, what's your journey been like?
Hard. It's been eye-opening, number one, and it's been difficult, number two, because I went through a lot of shit early. Like a lot of stuff that people probably will go through now or will like experience like between like 25 and 30. I experienced it like 14 and 15 and 16. So like, my parents got divorced when I was 15. And so they suffered from a lot of like substance abuse, not drugs, but just alcohol and shit like that. And it was just hard. Like it was, you're 15, you're going through adolescence, you got hair growing in places, you're like a girl, you're trying to figure out what's going on over here and over there and shit like that. And it's like, parents are like, wow. So a lot of shit that I was going through when I was young, I feel like I wasn't really prepared for it. I'm good now. But it was just like back in the day, I was called the Wild Wild West because it was just wild.
So you said they were going through substance abuse.
Yeah.
So do you
blame them?
Not blame them, but do you see why they were?
You can attribute anything that somebody's going through. You can attribute anything to their mental state. So whether you're going through a depression, whether you're going through a divorce, whether you lose your job, whether your car breaks down on the side of the road and you can't go to where you're trying to go, you can equate everything to your brain and your mental state. So my parents come from background because black people, number one, are like, we don't talk about anything unless it's like getting some money or something. We don't talk about anything in our houses. So I think that because my parents' upbringing was like, I don't want to say like rough, but it was just like if you know my grandfather, he was like, you do this, I don't want to talk about it, we're doing this, that's the plan, there's nothing else happening. And so I think a lot of that came from that, and I think a lot of stuff was just like internal. And so it just manifested itself you can go there on your computer. I think it manifested itself from that. And so now, that's what I'm saying. Like now, when you go through stuff like that, like even people that are like addicted to drugs and shit like that, we got the good end of the stick. We were just alcohol, but people that are like addicted to drugs and shit like that, it's from their upbringing, it's from all the stress and the stuff that they go through every day, it's from friends and family and stuff like that.
You say the upbringing, you mean that they saw it in the family?
No. I mean, like, you know what a coping mechanism is? Okay, so let's say, for example, right, you've had a hard day at work, right? And instead of you, like, playing a video game or, like, talking it out or something like that, you roll up some weed or you crack, like, a beer or something like that. So one thing leads to another. I'm not saying that this is what it is for everybody, but I'm just saying coping mechanism-wise, there are healthy options and then there are unhealthy options. So instead of you coming home and talking about it and being like, this happened at work and it pissed me off, blah, 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 blah. If you're in a bad relationship, number one, or your home life is not great, or you feel like you don't have anybody you can talk to, you're gonna go and you like live next to the liquor store, or you live next to the dope man, or wherever you stay at. That is what you're gonna use to like to numb the pain and stuff like that. And that I think is why a lot of people end up in the situation that they end up in, just because their mental state is not there yet.
So why do you think? Why is one of the reasons? What's one of the reasons why people don't talk about it? Especially
Because they're afraid what people think. They're
in the African American community.
any community.
Why don't we talk about it?
African American people don't talk about it because you're a bitch. Okay, you're acting like a sissy. Sorry. You need to toughen up. We don't talk. Boys don't cry. You don't talk about your feelings. Blah 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 blah. And that's not just it's prevalent in the African American community, obviously, but it's in every community. Like when you're young and you fall down, like in football, when you fall down and you get CTE, you don't get up and say, that hurt. Like you're in the moment and you're like, you have a concussion, but you're like, yeah, I'm fine. And then 10 years later, you can't pour yourself a glass of milk, like. But that's where it starts.
Where does it start as far as talking about it? Like,
man,
how do you bring that up?
You come home and you suck it up, right? And you say, Bo, I had a rough day at work. Or my baby mama's on my ass. Or my car this. Or somebody's birthday is coming up and I want to do this and I don't know how I'm going to do it. It takes so much more strength for you to open your mouth and say that you don't feel good, for you to hold it inside and drink 12 beers in a night. I'm telling you. But people don't want to do that.
It's be hard for somebody who doesn't have a
It's extremely difficult because then, okay, so let's say, for example, right, you live by yourself, right? So you just live a life of just like, it's like World War II. You come home, you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have a girlfriend or a wife or anything, you don't have any friends or anything. You don't drink, you straight and narrow. You don't drink, you don't do drugs. It's like a bomb. Like, it's, for lack of a better term, those people that go into like shopping malls and just open up a clip. That is primarily what that shit is from. Like, you're getting bullied, you can't talk about it at home. You're getting picked on, you can't talk about it at home. You got this going on and that going on. It's like a pressure cooker.
What about with kids? Like, if you have children, shouldn't they be able to come home and talk about it?
They should, but what did I just say?
What did you just say?
Your parents are going. Okay, so let's say.
Your parents are going through.
Let's talk about the 50s, right? So back in the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, even the 60s, they didn't know anything about cigarettes. Women didn't have voting rights. Black people were getting chewed on by German shepherds. Fucking cars had emission levels that were through the roof. You could smoke on an airplane and everybody would be. If the coronavirus happened back in the 50s, we'd all be dead. Like, people didn't know. And so there was a lot of just, like, marijuana was considered to make you crazy and go out of control and all this other stuff. And when I smoke weed, I just want to, like, listen to Drake and, like, watch the news. Like, so you got to think, like, your parents grew up in that era. How old are you, 33? 35. You look great. Okay. So my parents were, like, 50, right? So my dad was born in 66. So let's say that you're, like, I don't know, I'm so bad at math. Your parents grew up between the 40s and the 60s, right? So all of this crazy shit is going on. While that stuff is going on, like racism, right? A kid doesn't know about racism when he comes out of the water slide, right? You have to be taught that. So when you're brought up to say that black people are this and Jews are that and I don't know, what else is racist? Asian people and blah 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 blah. They don't know that inherently.
Right.
Someone's got to teach them
Man,
that.
I was just having this conversation with somebody.
Man, listen,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Your kids are a microcosm of everything of their parents because that is who they spend the most time with. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a physician of any sort. I'm a cameraman. So everything that I do is very like observant, and I see things in a very obscure light. That's what unorthodox means. I'm quirky and I'm quiet and I'm introverted and I'm to myself. And so I see things a lot differently, especially now because, man, I used to be out of control. And I caught myself right before it was too late. I caught myself right before I went off the cliff. And so now I'm looking back and I'm seeing everybody else that's running towards me like they're about to go off the cliff. And you can kind of like point it out. And so your kids are like when you have a piece of gum and you roll it on the floor and it picks up all of the lint and stuff off of the floor. If you are always stressed out and you don't talk about money, your kids are going to grow up and they're going to be stressed out and they're never going to talk about money. If you are a person that womanizes women, like you're always in a bad relationship or you're always with a different woman or something like that, your kids are going to think, well, that's the way that things are supposed to be because you spend the most time with them. You are their role model. Other than the internet, you are the person that's in their field of view. So if you don't handle your money right, if you don't go to church, if you are like always starting fights at the bar, or if you like go places and you just like act like a dickhead, they don't know any better. They're like, this must be this must be how things are handled. And that's what I thought. But it was really bad for me because when I would go home, nobody would be there. Like my dad would be in rehab. My mom, she would work like really late. My mom was an occupational therapist, and so she would be up in Philly, in the bad parts of Philly, helping people's kids that had disabilities. And so I would get out of school at like 3, and she wouldn't always be home all the time. And so it would just be me and my fucking knucklehead friends, man.
You grew up from
Yeah.
So isn't that, what about a kid who grows up with just one parent?
That's the same thing.
It's the same as growing up with both parents?
It's the same thing. Because now you just have that one parent, right? This is why I always tell you, everything is a circle. Everything goes together. So let's say, for example, right? Because professional athletes are notorious for having one parent. When you go to the league, or you play, at least, again, for black people, it's always black people, because you never hear white people in these situations, ever. It's a black dude playing football, a black dude playing basketball. What do? They buy their mom a house. They don't say, oh, my dad. If they're lucky, their dad did this and their dad did that. But they'll be like, I got to buy my mama a house. Because she working 3 jobs, she putting food on the table. She done spit 3 or 4 of you niggas out, so she got to go double extra super hard to provide for you. You're not at an age where you can drive a car, you can't get a job yet, so she got to do everything for you. So you see that, I think that plays a lot too into like a player's work ethic. And then now all of a sudden, you don't have your father. Like it's weird for me because I had my dad and he was cool. He was, it's 50-50. We got some shit we got to work out, but I had my dad and then I didn't have my dad. And then he came back. And then I didn't have him a little bit more here and there, and then he came back. And so when you don't have both parents, now you really out here in these streets. Because it's like, for as long as your mother's not around, you are at the mercy of the world. So when you walk around the corner to go get you something to eat, you got to talk to Doughboy on the corner. You got to talk to the hoes on the corner trying to get you to spend some money to mess around with them. You got this distraction over here, malt liquor, cigarettes, all of this other stuff. And so now you're at the mercy of the streets now. And I was lucky. I really got lucky because all of my friends, we were all dickheads, but we were just like, we weren't trying to do what everybody else was doing. So we had our moments though.
So we'll switch to the game a little bit.
Yeah, man, switch it up.
Let's talk about when you came to Florida. Like, what year was that?
When I first came?
Yeah, when you came.
When I first came to Florida, it was 2016. And that was great because I had just got out of California from being stabbed.
We'll talk about that. That's funny. We'll talk about that.
That's what I'm saying.
But when you came to Florida,
was in a mind state of, I'm still like that, but I'm more calculated now. So when I do stuff, I feel like I'm King Kong on top of the building, beating my chest with the airplanes flying around. I feel like the most unstoppable Optimus Prime superhero that the world has ever seen. So I was like, I did exactly what LeBron did. I was like, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, but I go to Tampa because Miami's too expensive.
So when you came to Florida was
16.
2016.
Yes.
What was your mindset of what were you doing?
I want to film. I want to get up. Okay, this is gonna sound so dickheadish, but it's the truth. It's the truth. When I'm at home, I'm it. Like I'm the secretary. I'm the maid. I walk the dogs. I do this. I'm the facilitator. I do everything at my house because I'm the oldest. So I've had that job. But when you want to become successful, when you want to hit the pinnacle of whatever, whether you want to be a professional video game player, you want to be a world-renowned personal trainer, or you want to be a NASCAR driver and go around in a circle, you have to do what's called enter the matrix. So everything is a distraction. Everything. From television to your phone to when the trash has to go out. And I unfortunately am cursed with attention deficit disorder. So I'll be walking down the street and I'll be like, man, I wonder what so-and-so is doing. And then I'll see a shiny object on the side of the road. Wow, what's that over there? And it took me a long time because I was just a joke about it. Like, I just need to focus more. I just need to be more attentive. But it's really difficult, man. It's really hard for me to concentrate on things. So I have to put horse blinders on and like really focus down on what it is that I'm doing. And so when I'm not trying to be a dickhead. I know I sound like a dickhead. When I gotta do stuff like walk our dogs, or I gotta do shit like, even take the trash out, man. Just like when an alcoholic is like goes to the bar.
Oh, when an alcoholic asks you to do it?
No. Think about it this way, right? Okay. When an alcoholic, right, is on the wagon and they're not drinking and shit like that, right? Imagine how hard it is when you see somebody drinking or you see a poster for alcohol or something like that. It's always like all around you. And so it's like, man, I would really love to go get a drink. So when I would do shit, like I would just go downstairs to get some food and the TV would be on and I would be like in the middle of working on something and I would go downstairs and like make a meal and then I would sit on the couch and like watch the show that's on. And like all of my shit is on them. And I'm like, oh my God, I have a problem. So when you're trying to become successful, and it's anything, it's not just drugs now, it's anything. You are you're in like rare air. You can, but you can't go to parties. You can't talk on the phone. And I'm not saying like I can't do this because I would whatever. I'm just saying when you're trying to become successful, it's like a bobsled luge. Like you can only stay in that lane, and it's so easy for you to go off and go in other directions and talk to this person and end up over. Man, that's why when you go places and you talk to people, again, that's all I can equate it to. When you go to a bar, right, you talk to somebody. I used to do this. Back in high school, I was gonna go pro, but then my knee, and then and I didn't, and now I'm home and I got all the. That's because the shit got to him. It like collapsed on top of him, and everybody. Again, that's why it's always all in a circle. Everybody is so fucking concerned about what other people think and what other people are gonna say and how other people are gonna present. That's why I wrote all. Those are all of our excuses. They're not yours. They're not mine. They're not his. They're everybody's excuses of why they can't do something. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm too short. I'm ugly. My mother passed away. I don't have the computer. Money. You'd be so amazed at what money will stop people from doing because they don't have money. And you don't even understand that there's so much free shit on the internet that you can do for free. But nobody knows about that because they want to be on Instagram shaking their ass. They want to be on fucking TMZ. I just talked to Kanye and all of this other stuff. Like, success you can be successful, but you gotta cut everybody off. You can't do anything. Like, and people don't want to do that. They don't want to do that, and you'd be surprised.
So in 2016 came.
My bad. Yeah, that was why I wanted to go to Florida because I wanted to get away from everything. I wanted to be undistracted and literally, I wanted to be. Yeah, to be. And then my other two friends from Wilmington, because where I'm from, there's a lot of death and a lot of violence and a lot of like just things that you you wouldn't normally see like on a daily basis. I was exposed to a lot. That's why I say I was lucky the way that I ended up. So I was like, I gotta get out of here. Cause man, I used to like go mess with these girls and shit like that. I used to go to Philly to mess with them, and then I'd go like in Wilmington and shit like that. And people would just be, you would just hear it like pop, 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 and I'd be like, oh my god, like I gotta get out of here. It was a bunch of other shit, but
So you came down.
yes.
And then, so we met.
I put an ad. I will never forget this ever. The way that I met BRAKKI Brazzle. Listen, the way that I met BRAKKI Brazzle was I put an ad on Craigslist because, like I said, when I first came down here, all I wanted to do was shoot, not a gun. I wanted to film, and so Brack was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." And then the same thing happened. I haven't heard from him. Brack, what are you doing? What's good? Is that your real name? That sounds like a porn star name. Is that your real name? And so I was like, come on, let's do something. And then that was when you worked at LA Fitness. And that was the first time I'd ever been in a gym like that. And I was, again, because I got attention deficit disorder, I'm like, a pool, a basketball court, weights. Wow, this dude's got really big muscles. Sorry for touching you.
You came around. I don't know if you know this. 2016 when I met you, I had just got out of Jazzy's barbecue.
I thought you could say jail.
$8.50 an hour.
That place was so good.
It was good, but I was working hard.
Food was
So
so good.
depressed, man. But 2016 was a difficult year too because it was difficult and it was good because I had got into LA Fitness.
Yeah.
Boom. And then I was home. You know what I'm saying? I was home. I was home, you know, my kids got to, I got to see them in the morning and they get to see me, and we used to go out to breakfast every morning and stuff like that. So 2016 was like great, and then it was also a struggle too at the same time, still like growing up and stuff and trying to figure stuff out. Like what we were talking about earlier about, just having conversations about like what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. 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 Let's see. 2016, we started filming.
Yeah, you sent me a video. You're like, I want to look like this dude, and it was a
Mike
video
Rashid.
of Mike Rashid's bitch ass in Miami walking on the beach. I'm like,
When I said I wanted to look like him, I wanted like his model business, like how he was moving around, and I was like, I had that idea, but I didn't know the pieces of the puzzle. Yeah. He was just moving, kept moving. So 2016, boom. What's something that what's one of the biggest mistakes you've made in your life?
women, definitely. Just always wanting the embrace of a woman and thinking that was the key to everything. Once I get a woman, everything will work out. Everything will be fine. When I'm in a relationship, I'll get married. I always wanted a Honda Civic. I'll have a Honda Civic or a Toyota Camry, picket fence and a dog and all that shit. I always thought that having a girlfriend or getting married was the key to life. And these women are trash.
Cause the grass ain't never. I ain't even gonna get it.
No, listen, I got you back.
Man, grass ain't never green on the other side. Everybody's young men out there. The grass is never green on
That's
the
why.
other side.
That's why it came to me so fast. I've done a lot of shit. Like, don't get it wrong. Listen, all right. I'll ruin your life. I'll have you fucked up out here. But I would say women because you think that. Man, I've been with good-looking girls. I've been with looking girls. I've been with skinny women, fat women, tall women, short women, and I'm just like, y'all got problems.
Yeah, the physical appearance, whatever.
It's like the front door to a mansion.
But the inside of a person, like their beliefs, what they think
When
about, what they aspire to be, where they see their family and
when
whether
you
they
no
want
listen,
a family. Like,
when they don't clean themselves,
Oh,
we're not
man.
even talking about their bro. When you see a mansion on the outside, right, and the lawn is cut and the windows are washed and the door is nice and pristine and shiny, right, and then you walk into a mansion and there's rats and roaches all over the place and the stairwell is eroded and the lights don't work, you're like, what the fuck is going on in here? Yeah. When I would be with a woman, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I did some underhanded shit, right? And I really put the pedal to the man. Listen, you know me. I'm the most intelligent fucking android out here. And so when my girl was like, Marceau, I need this, or man, it would really be cool if I could do this or I could do that. She wouldn't even be like directly asking me. I would just hear it in conversation and be like, I got you. Man, I used to bang the fuck out here for these hoes. Sorry, for these women. And it's not like I'm doing it for recognition. It's not like I'm doing it 100% for recognition, but it's just like, I would like you to acknowledge the fact that if you were with A, B, and C, they wouldn't even know how to get started. And I've brought it to you in 3 different options for you to choose from.
Tell them about it.
And then the fact that you feel as though that's not enough, or you feel for whatever it is, because again, you don't know somebody's mental health. You don't know what's going on in their brain stems. So for whatever reason, it's not enough. And for a long time, I thought it was because of the way that I looked. I really thought because I lost my hair, okay? God, I miss my hair so much. I used to be flowing. For such a long time, I thought it was because I was short and I was light-skinned and I had an oblong head that women didn't like me. Bruh, women don't like themselves. They don't. They are unhappy with the way that they look. They're unhappy with the way that they dress, the way that they talk, the people they hang out with. Like a really, really good-looking girl, like a 10 or 11, will hang out with a 4 and a 3 and like maybe a 6, right? To make themselves in photos look even, this is a photography trick. They will hang out with, my best friend. She's hanging out with you because you look like a trucker. That's why she's hanging out with you. You will be so surprised the manipulative stuff that women do because, again, I'm a cameraman. I film people for a living, so I see shit that nobody else can see. People will hang out with other people because, women will specifically hang out with other women because they are lacking something and it makes that makes them feel better. So I always felt like when I was in a relationship with a woman or I was with a woman, the end all be all was to make them happy because then that would make me happy, and that was not the case. I wasted a lot of time. I wasted so much time.
My experiences with women was their objective, like what they're trying to get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like what they're trying to get from. Because for me, my heart is pure. I feel like I'm the kind of person that if I'm with you, I'm with you.
Spring water.
You know what I'm saying? I'm with you, I'm with you. So some people feed off that. Like,
yes.
I'm even like that in relationships.
And they will suck you dry out here.
I'm even like that when it comes to friends too, like people that I just come in contact with and stuff. I'm just like, I'm not even gonna show that. I'm not even gonna look. This is all me. This is who I am. You know what I'm saying? What you need? Let's
My friends used to make fun of me a lot. Because I used to cry. My boy would be like, bro, you wear your heart on your sleeve. You can't do that out here.
That's the word.
And I used to be like, man, this is who like, bro, I'd be like, so-and-so ain't fucking with me. And I would start like getting like misty.
And I'm going back in the past, right? I'm going back in the past a little bit. Because I feel like people that watch this show, they kind of learn. They can learn from, even though it's like a therapy session, conversation, and like, just general all around learn something. When I fell in love, right? Boom. And then fucked up. Nobody. Didn't have one. Growing up, I don't even know what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? So messed up so many times, and it's like what you said, because I didn't know what it looked like. You know what I mean? And then I have like a very, I feel like before, I was a very like people may call it controlling, but I just like to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I like to know, what time you coming home, blah, blah, blah. I'm like that with my kids. I'm like that with anybody that's close to me. Like, where are you going? You know what I'm saying? What time you coming back? Like, I want to know, because the biggest thing with me, I'm a 0 to 1,000 type of guy, right? Yeah. So if everything, if there's no ripples in the water, but then some shit happen, I'm not even like, I'm blank. I can't see no more. I'm going straight to the issue, and I'm going at it with force, and I don't care who it is. Big, strong, tall, black, white. I don't care what it is. I'm a beast if I turn that switch on, and I can't apologize for it later, because I've already set the expectations, right? I've already said, hey, where you going? What's this?
And when you get to cussing and shit,
that's what. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, when I feel like, for all because man, I got people on my social media page, man, and I look at social media kind of different, especially Facebook. A guy on my Facebook, he was like, I had saw that he got married or something. He had got married, and then he had he just had a baby too.
Damn.
And then like 2 months later or something like that, I was following because I was happy for him. Like, this is a black man. He's getting married. He's got a baby. Like, he's doing everything the right way. And then I saw he was like, the switch just shifted. And I don't know what happened. I don't know. Anything could have happened. Infidelity. You know what I mean? Anything could have happened. But in my mindset, I'm thinking, I want to tell him the grass is not greener on the other side. So whatever is going on in your grass, mow that shit, cultivate it, fix it, and move past it and forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Because and this is from experience, if you jump from, all right, you got a great thing going on over here, and it don't work out, and then you go over here and you trying to do something else, it never works out, bro. I'm telling you, it's always gonna be an issue. And my last thing is on this topic. Well, not my last thing, but people give up too easily. Yeah. People quit too easily. And partially, my thing is like, that's why I want my children to play sports, right? Because in a sport, it, like, if we take football, right, for example, because I've played football, right? If you take football, when you start out, it's so hard. It's the sun. It's the shit talk. You know what I'm saying? You can't catch. If you're playing tackle, you're getting ran over. Now you wondering what the fuck is going on. Now my pride is in the way. Like, I just got ran over. I quit. Whatever, right? So then, but the thing is, if you keep going, you start to adapt to it and you mold to it. The worst thing I ever did was quit something, because once I quit something, all those years of playing football and competing and wanting to be the best, once you quit something one time, that shit becomes a habit. Now you look at it like you do everything like that, every freaking thing, bro. So then you gotta train your mind. You gotta go back. You have to kind of do you gotta use your imagination to go back to when you were a child, when you started, and you have to go back into that inner being to say, what kept me going in this sport, or what kept me motivated to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know what I'm saying, to go out here and run and tackle and all this stuff. And then you don't see the fact that you became really, really good at it. You remember when you were struggling, but when you became really, really good at it. That's why I used to get jealous too with people with relationships. I used to get pissed off, man. I used to be like, man, how, you know what I'm saying? When is it my turn? Like, I'm an attractive person. Yeah, right? Yeah, like, I'm like, bro, well, I'm an attractive person. Like, I have great qualities. I'm a hard worker, blah, blah, blah. But then when I see people that are married, bro, I'm talking about doing it the right way, I just be like, man, because it's they have their struggles too, but they didn't quit. That's the whole point of life. That's the whole point of life, period, right? I look at life like this. Everything is revolved around whether you're gonna continue to go or you're gonna quit, right? People quit. The extreme would be committing suicide. I hear about that all the time. A less extreme thing would be, I quit my job today because I just quit. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have a reason. I just came in, I felt like I didn't want to do it, so I quit. So that becomes a behavior. That becomes like part of your character now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you a quick story. This is one thing that I quit on, right? That it fucked me up, my character and everything, right? This was like 2014. 2014, it's like 2 years before I met you? So 2014, I was living in a house. It was a big house. It was in Clearwater, I think Clearwater Largo area. And I was working at Bright House at the time, and I had another job. I was working. That was later on. That was 2000. Shit, I don't know. But 2014, I had Bright House. I was working at Bright House, and I was working at a group home, right? So I'm doing double shifts. I'm barely home, but I see my kids. Like that's important. I'm there with my kids. I'm there with my family. You know what I'm saying? So I, started to get the entrepreneur bug, right? This is when I first got it. So I was like, one day I was like, man, I want to figure out what kind of business can I get into. So I think it was Bright House. I got out of Bright House. I think it was Bright House. And I started working, because I was still at the group home, but I was working with this guy in Tarpon Springs who had a moving company. And he ran the moving company from a U-Haul place, which I found out later that's illegal. But he was an entrepreneur. He was an older gentleman, had an issue. He had a drug problem, but he was successful though. Like, he was running his business accordingly. He was busy. So I was working there. I stayed there for a year, right? The whole year, everything was kind of good. Everything was still going, pretty good. I'm still doing it at the group home, but I'm still at the moving company. So one day I go in and his wife is there, and she's like, "Oh, he's not here today. We'll call him Jacob. I ain't gonna say his real name. So Jacob, he's not here today. Here's the paperwork for the move today, so you can go out and do it. All right." So I take the paperwork. I take a couple guys with me. We go out. We move. We come back. The next day, dude is still not there. His wife is there, and she's like, "Tomorrow, here's the address. Come and pick up the paperwork." Right? So I was like, "Cool." I didn't put two and two together. I'm just ready to go to work. So I go to work. Boom. Finish the day. Park the truck. I go home. And the next day, I'm driving. I lived in Clearwater, so I'm driving to Tarpon Springs. I'm driving to work. And I was like, "Oh, she told me to go to this address." So I look at the address and I go to it, and it's her house. Yeah. So I pull up to her house. She had a big house in Odessa. I pull up to the house and knock on the door. She invites me in, and she said, we were upstairs. She said, "This is the last move you're gonna do." And I was like, "What?" And why? And she's like, "Jacob is he got in trouble. He's in jail. He's not gonna get out for a little while." Yeah. So I was like, damn. So I go and do the move, and then I go back to her house, and she wasn't there. So I go home. I'm tripping all the way home, like I'm in my feelings, man. I'm like, damn, like I need this work. I need the money. So sorry, this is a long story, but it's
I'm listening. This is part of my thing. I'm trying to be focused.
So the next day, I drove back to her house, not having any work. I drive back to her house, and she said,
So you didn't think at all, bro, this is weird that he's just not here.
I didn't. I was just, yeah, I was like, well, he got arrested, so I was like, what did he do? Maybe it's the U-Haul thing, because she wasn't at the U-Haul place anymore. So I was like, it is what it is. I'm just gonna go get this work. So, man, it's 2013. 2013, because then I started. So 2013, I'm working there. My baby's a little at this time. So, yeah, they were little. So, I go back to her house and she said, "What's going on?" She looked at me crazy and I was like, "I don't have any work. Like, I got another job, but I really want to do this." So she was like a Haitian lady or something, like Jamaican or something like that. She was like, "You just go start your own business." And that right there was just like, it was like she gave me the key. You know what I mean? To like, she gave me the permission to go and start my own business. So I go home and Miss Hernandez was like, she was helping me out with a business, like a plan. You know what I'm saying? So I just started going and getting stuff, man. I went to I found this warehouse place that sold moving equipment and all this stuff. So Miss Hernandez was like, "Your business name should be Revolutionary Movers." That's it.
That's why we're together, okay?
You know what I'm saying? So Revolutionary Movers, I started getting all this stuff, man. And then I remember my first move, we had white t-shirts on. I found a guy to help me that used to work with the moving company that I was with. And did the first move, made some money, and I was like, okay, this works. So started researching, getting LLC and all that stuff, right? So then life gets harder. Life fucking sucks, man. It gets harder. So I'm working so much that I'm having to get away from the group home. So I'm having to go like 100% into business. Like I had a desk in the house. It was like the kitchen, and then there was a little lanai area, and there was my desk, and I had all my stuff. I kind of just copied and pasted from Jacob's desk that he had, and I was there always. But then it goes back to what you were saying when you were home, man. I was the receptionist. I was the accountant. You're running your own business. I was everything, and I didn't know nothing, bro. I was just like going on with and then like I'm at home, so I have a family, I have responsibilities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
On top of being a dad and
You know,
owning a business and not knowing what's going on.
Miss Hernandez was there. Miss Hernandez's mom was with us at the time. So then I just, instead of like having conversations about stuff, you know, I would just get mad, right?
Yes.
I would just get upset. Like, so some of the biggest like mistakes that I ever made, like Miss Hernandez's mom, right? You know, she gave me a car because I didn't have a car. She gave me a car, and we got into an argument about something, and I'm sure it was my fault. So we were arguing. Long story short, I ended up selling the car. Yeah, stupid as fuck. So I ended up selling the car. You know what I mean? And that started like the biggest argument in the world. And which I was stupid because now I didn't have a car at all, period. But I was just being spiteful and dumb, right? So young, stupid. So sold the car and you know, got on her bad side, got on her side, like, you know, just. And then it was just more and more negative energy, but I brought it into the environment. I brought it into because I didn't know how to talk about stuff. I didn't know how to. Nobody did. I was always like, all right, if I'm mad, I'm upset, and I wear the shit on my sleeve. I probably was. I'll pull up the old video, but instead of like talking about the shit. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I'm gonna get mad and I'm gonna just be all the time. And that's frustrating.
That mixed together.
Yeah.
With alcohol
Oh, I ain't even had it.
No, I'm saying imagine that mixed together with the toxic attitude.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying that you like abuse.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like marriage like that.
Yeah.
I'm saying in the Black African American community, alcohol, cigarettes, all of that shit,
All the poison.
together.
Poison.
And you don't have your father, you don't have a role model in your life at all. And you just going off. Like
So-
a firecracker.
So it was just sold the car and got in an argument. Got in an argument at the house, and business just started to fall apart because, I found this guy that we used to work together at the Jacobs Moving Company. Dude's named Sean. So, he fucked me over. So, man, excuse my language. Kids might be worried. Sorry. So he was helping me move stuff, and I'm already going through it at home, man. I'm struggling at home, bro. I'm trying to get my relationship together. Oh man, it was like, and then I'm not at the group home, so I'm not making like, I'm used to a certain amount of money coming in, providing for my family, but I'm trying to do business at the same time, and
because everything works together and everything is in a circle. So when something falls out of the thing, then everything is like,
yeah, it's like
too fast or too slow.
We were doing these, quick example, they call them scaffolds. So these scaffolds are like, you got to get on some type of lift to take you up there, right? They're high.
Like when you're building a building?
Yeah. They say if you pull a pin, the whole thing could fucking fall down, right? So I felt that at home, right? Like at this time, bro. So everything's going crazy at home. Me and, the missus are getting into it, man. Her mom fucking hates me. You know what I'm saying? She's mad at me.
What did you learn from that?
Let me finish it and I'll come back to this.
Okay.
Remind me of that question, because I'll tell you. So business falling apart. Sean's stealing from me, man. He's stealing money from me, and I had no financial. Yeah, I didn't have like a way. I just did it like I saw Jacob do it. He had a clipboard, put the money in envelope, keep it in there, close the clipboard, whatever. I would send Sean.
So to speak.
So I would send Sean out on the move or something. I'm at the house trying to get stuff together, and one time there was this big move we had, man, and I sent them out, and I was like, man, I'll be out there later. I had to go do a different move, and then I was calling a customer, and he's like, man, where are your guys? They're not here. And I'm like, bro, I rented a U-Haul truck. I sent this man with all my tools, all my blankets, everything, and the customer later on calls me and says, man, they did a great job, blah, blah, blah. But Sean's nowhere to be found. So I said, sir, did you pay me? And he's like, yeah, I paid you in cash. So, man, I forget how much money. And it was, and I learned later about principle. It was the principle of the thing, but it was also because it was the money. I needed the money for my bills from my house. Like I was just starting to come up. And business, man, it takes so much time, dog, to grow. So at this time, it's 2014. I'm growing, but I got shit at the house, fucked up with my people at the house. And so one day I come home and Miss Hernandez just had it, and she told me to get out. She told me to leave, and so I had to leave, man. And like it was the worst decision because it from 2014 all the way up until today. Like it affected my life, my kids' lives. But I had to leave, and she told me to leave. And you go through a phase of like depression, and then you go through a phase of like, oh well, I'll just find a new girl or whatever. But when I tell dudes like my man I'm talking about on social media, the grass ain't never green on the other side, man. And some people, some people is good. You know what I'm saying? Some people do find somebody else, right? And still be together. But those people are the ones who didn't give up. If you ever played, I'm gonna go back to sports. If you ever play football, if you give up, you're a bitch. I'm so for real. And I gave up at that time when she told me to leave. And I gave up at that time because I wasn't handling my responsibilities. Over the years, it was just like barely seeing my kids. Like I missed a lot of time in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like I missed a lot of time in their lives. You know, I had a foundation. I had an amazing partner. You know what I'm saying? And like everything was supposed to go how it was supposed to go, but I fucked it up because I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to talk about things. You know, I let my emotions and how I felt and trying to be dominant and controlling step in. You know, and when they say like you in the doghouse, man, I felt like I've been in the doghouse, man, for since 2014. We just adopted a Sharpei mix. She's like boxer pit bull. You know what I mean? We went and picked her up from the Humane Society or the SPCA. One of them, you know, one of them.
She was there, we took her out.
Right, but the way she was living was like jail. You know what I'm saying? When I saw Nola and her situation, I felt like I was in her shoes, and
You don't choose the dog chooses you.
and I felt like I was in her shoes at that time, you know. So but yeah, my whole point of the story was I try and tell, you know, people that like younger than me, same age or older, it don't matter. Like you have to, you know, face like your shit, deal with it, and don't give up. You know what I mean? Because it's hard, man. It's
What is one? There's a bunch of stuff to take away from that. I'm not going to go into that.
a lot.
What is one thing that you say, man, I'm not going to let that happen again, or you learned about your own personal self?
Quitting isn't my character. It's not even in my DNA. When I gave up, quit. I mean, we probably had no communication for a year after that. I didn't see my kids for a year after that. It drove me crazy. And what I learned is that's not in my DNA to quit. I'm a dog. I'm a dog. I feel like if I'm in a fight, I'm going to the end. I'm not the kind of person that'll run. I learned that for that's the man. That's the spirit though. I feel like when you get butterflies in your stomach, that's the spirit. That's the you know, we walk around with our armor on. You know, that's the spirit inside you saying, you know, they say fight or flight or whatever. No, that's the spirit of like.
I've gotten in fights about the Eagles. I've gotten in fights about the Sixers.
Yeah.
I've gotten in fights about from bullies in school, and I've gotten my ass handed to me. But it's just like, bruh, like, no. Like, I don't care what happens, I'm not going out like that. Bruh, I've almost gotten in fights at work. Because it's just like, it's just because I think because I'm just small, but it's just like, well, yeah, I love the Eagles. I love my sport. But it's just like, bro, like, I can't go out like, even if somebody films it, it's like, well, you can't say that I ran. But,
Forgiveness. I learned like forgiveness, and this isn't stuff I learned right away not even a year after, not even 2 years after that. I say like when we linked up in Atlanta, and when even in therapy, man, like even understanding like
what did it take you to go to therapy? You personally, what do you think was like? Would you ever have considered going to therapy before that, on your own?
yeah, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't.
So you would have went, but it took longer for you to get to that lady's office. Would you say that she who shall not be named pushed you far?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There was a lot of BS in that situation, right? But the crumbs that came out of that cake were pushed me towards seeing a therapist because some of the stuff that we talked about and that she brought up made me realize like who I am as a person and like the way my mind thinks. And like I never really forgave myself, and it's hard for me to like let go of stuff. And I never forgave myself, and I never actually forgave other people. Now I'm at a point in my life where I forgive other people. Sometimes I'm in front of people cause I run into people that I've known for a minute, and sometimes, like recently, I ran into somebody and I was like, I forgive you. And they was just like, what? What are you talking about? For what? And I was just like, I forgive you. And that was for me because I was holding on to anger, man. Like, there's nothing worse. And I've done it to other people. It's weird because I've done it to other people, but people have done it to me. It's nothing worse than somebody lying. Just being deceitful, man, just lying.
They know that you know, and they still choose to deceive you.
Yeah.
It's different when somebody doesn't know or they're like afraid or something like that. If you are lying to somebody and you know that they know and they know that you know,
Yeah.
then it's like a whole different level.
My mom used to say when I was a kid, right? She used to be like, I'd rather you tell me the truth than lie to me, right?
Yeah,
And I remember I would be lying to her and she would find out the truth. And then there were situations where I would tell her the truth. When I told her the truth, she was less upset than she was when I lied to her about it. So now I live by that, like I rather my children, whoever, come up to me or call me or text me or whatever. If they text me, I'd rather they say, hey, I need to talk to you. All right, cool. I'd rather somebody be like, I did XXX. Because I'll be like, damn, but you told me. Like, I wouldn't even be tripping. Like, I'll be tripping, I ain't gonna lie, I'll be tripping. But I wouldn't as in depth, as so much, man, as I would if I was just being lied to. And I try to live my life like that now, like. But would you have went to therapy if you wasn't pushed?
I would go to therapy right now.
I'm saying if you wasn't pushed to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think after my mom passed away, I just became a totally different person. Like I mean, like 180.
You went to therapy before your mom passed, or after, or both.
I think I went. Well, I qualified therapy. Going into a lady's office, I had never done that before because therapy's fucking expensive.
Yeah.
But
There's loopholes.
yeah.
You may not get as much time with them, but you.
But there's loopholes.
Yeah.
But therapy for me would just be like talking to you. We're talking to my boys from back home. We're talking to my dad. Me and my dad have squashed so much stuff just because it's like, well, I never told you this. And then we did it, and then it goes down, and then we have a regular conversation.
Yeah.
But as far as like going into a lady's office, well, I would do that at the drop of a hat now because I am more self-aware of myself now. But the only reason that happened is because I make the conscious effort to be more self-aware. Mm-hmm. And the only reason that happened is because I used to be out here in these streets. Mm-hmm. Like I was talking to one of my clients the other day, right? And she was like, wow, you're always, every time I call you, you're in the house. She was like, you don't like to go and stuff like that? I'm like, bro, if you knew me from like 15 to like 27, you would know, like, yeah, I need to be now. Because I used to be out here in these streets doing whatever, first of all, whatever I wanted. Yeah. I knew I could do whatever. And number two, I was just angry all the time. I was just pissed off. Not like physically at a person, so to speak. But like it just at my situation and just from the past. I was just always angry. So I'm always laughing about stuff now because I feel so light and so airy. I'm just a funny person. I had so much, I was a little bit less, but I had so much anger for such a long time from school, from my parents, from life, from my family, from a whole bunch of stuff. And so when I used to be from my mother died, after I got sick, I was just like, pissed off all the time. I had to prove myself right. just go extra hard for no reason. And then when I figured out that that wasn't the case, I was even more pissed off. And I was even more upset. So I was like, bro, I'm out here, like when we were talking about women, I'm like, bro, I'm out here banging these corners and for nothing, extra X, Y, Z. And so that is why I always say everything is a circle. Everything goes together.
What? So how? Let's talk about this.
Oh, God.
We're in LA, California. We at the crib. We was at a bando? No, we was at the house. We were at the house. And one of your best friends.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. What happened?
Okay, so again, I'm the greatest gift to Earth that the world has ever seen. I'm a superhero that cannot be stopped, and I will fly to the sun and throw it at the moon. So my friend was like, let's go to California. And any normal person that has a brain that is not a crazy psychopath would have been like, there's no way for us to do that. I'm gonna give you some context, right? So some people it always makes me laugh when people talk about the dark web on Facebook and stuff like that, or people talk about like getting scammed on the internet. I'm the type of person that would scam a scammer. So there are these people that used to get like checks from those Nigerian princes and be like, send us back, we'll send you $3,000 and you send us back whatever for the taxes or whatever. I would cash those checks and I threw a birthday party for not a birthday party. I bought a bunch of presents for my friend's child. Oh, no. And I bought the blow-up slide. That was great. There was this like really high blow-up slide, and my friend was like, bro, I can't afford it. And I just bought it. I rented it for the whole day. And then I bought him a bunch of video games because I don't know what kids like. I'm like 20-something years. I have no idea what kids like. So I just bought him a bunch of toys and video games. But those type of checks, I used to just take those checks and cash them. I'm not going to tell you how. But that was the type of life I leaded. So I had nobody like telling me to stop. I had nobody telling me what was good and what was bad. I knew it was good and bad, but I literally I'm an unstoppable human being. I'm still like that, just not on the illegal side anymore. And so my friend was like, bro, let's go to California. And I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, from that phone call to the time that we arrived in LA was 72 hours. I had just bought a new car with paychecks that I had made on my own. I printed them out on my own computer and I designed them on myself. And I paid for the car. I did no money down because, again, I'm Optimus Prime. I'm Mike Tyson in the 80s. And I walked in there I knew that I was leaving with the car. There wasn't a thing of, is this going to work or not? It literally was me. It was like, I don't want the Hellcat because it guzzles gas. I don't want that because I'm not a soccer mom. I want that car. I made the paycheck stubs. And I walked clean out. I gave him $200. It was 2013. I bought a 2014. Brand new, left. Drove that thing all the way out to California. It was that color. It was a red Chevy Spark. All the way out to California. My man had his computer in the back. He had his Mac pressed up against the back window. And thinking back, that dude was the scum of the earth. But that's a different story for another day. But that speaks to my past. Those are the type of people I used to hang out with. And I got out there. And when I tell you this dude, I met a dude in California. His name was Daniel Johnson. And when I tell you this dude, he was California. He was like Mexican. He was some type of Hispanic, Mexican, whatever. I don't know. Tattoos all over him. And I'm like, this dude's going to take my life. Because my friend, again, was involved in some activity, and he had to go back home to go to court. So I was in our house, and I was like, I had no money because I had just driven all the way out to California, and we're 3 hours behind, and I'm not going to call my dad because I'm a real nigga out here. Sorry. I'm a gangster. Like, gangsters don't call their parents. Like, gangsters get money. So, I did my thing, okay? So I just came across this dude doing my thing. And he won the same thing. He was like you. He was working with a dude, and he was a carpenter's like apprentice. And so he had like a bunch of tools and stuff like that. And the dude would just let him use the truck. And so we became cool. Man, we used to take that truck to every Seal Beach, Madeira Beach, Hernando Beach, Venice Beach. And I'm not a drinker, but we used to go to the supermarket. Because in LA, I'd always been in Philly. They sell alcohol in the supermarket. And in the Rite Aid and the Walgreens and the CVS, they sell like cases of beer. I had never seen that before. So I'm like,
You don't do that here?
fuck. No, they do it here. I'm saying when I was in Philly. I hadn't moved to Florida yet.
Okay.
This was 2014 going into 2015. I was like, oh snap. That's
How
not
crazy that is?
Yeah.
2014, I was doing it. In 2014, you was doing that?
Yeah.
And then we run into each other.
That's what I'm saying. you like, but when you're like in it, you don't really see it. You don't realize it at the time. And now that we're older, I'm like, man, this has all been like leading up. Bro, that's how I know we about to. But that's another. Don't stop. So man, me and this dude were like me and you. Just like everything's a joke. Let's go get some food. We're watching movies and we've got, women at the crib. And, getting, just doing all. Oh yeah. No. Smoking weed and shit like that. Man, me and this dude were like, he was my boy, man. He was my brother. He was my guy, man. I met this dude, right? And his girlfriend was pregnant. Now, mind you, it was 2014. I'd already been doing photography for like 5 years. So I'm already in the game. I could make anybody look good. When his daughter was born, I was the second person to hold her. The first person was his mother, was the baby's mother, his girl. She said, Marcel, you want to hold the baby? I'm like, bro, my hands aren't clean. My man came out with the hand sanitizer. I'm like, oh, that was an excuse to not do it, but I guess we're doing it, all right. I'm like, yo, this is a young wife in my hands. Like, bro, me and this dude, we were a power couple. I don't know. And it hurts me because of the way that he hurt me. So again, because I used to be a scammer, a swindler, whatever it's called. I had a silver tongue, so I could talk.
Take it there, Bo. Take it there.
I could talk my way out.
Talk your shit.
I could talk my way out of a lot of situations.
Happened?
And so the dude that was renting our house, I was like, bro, I'm not paying for this place because I have a bunch of skills that I can give you that are worth way more than money. And so we ended up moving to Compton.
Y'all moved to Compton?
People always are like, y'all moved to Compton. We were, okay. So Tupac and them hung out on like Rosecrans and stuff like that. I lived on Rosecrans. I lived 2 streets away from Rosecrans, where the game shot the video with Drake, that 100 video. I lived 2 blocks away from there. Shout out Nipsey the Great. Shout out Nipsey.
Yeah.
I was in the heart of Nipsey's hood, but he wasn't popping yet. It was only 2014. He wasn't popping like that yet. So we had a bunch of mixtapes out. So this dude, he starts hanging out with a bunch of just bad people, we'll call him. And I'm a bad dude. I used to be a bad guy. So we're talking about even worse than me. And so over the course of, I would say, 2 months, this dude, he got involved with crystal meth. He got involved with crack cocaine, just like the shit that just ruins people's families and their lives and their lineage. And he went through the thing of like losing weight, and it was like watching your friend die. It really was like watching your friend die, man. And he just deteriorated right in front of my face. And it got to the point where it would be the middle of the night, and he would be in the kitchen, and the lights would be off in the kitchen, and he would be having conversations like with himself, with our dog. We had this dog, her name was Milka, and she was a puppy. She was the cutest dog in the world. And he would be having conversations with the dog in the cage, and that dog would be asleep. And I would be, because I'm always hungry, so I'd go in there to get some Oreos or some chips. And I'd be like, bro, what are you? Oh, yeah, also shout out to Pizza Hut, because this is the time when Pizza Hut had the pretzel crust. Greatest shit ever. And I would be in there, and I'd be like, what are you doing? And most people would be, like, uncomfortable. Most people would be, like, scared or, like, I got to call somebody, blah, 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 blah. But this was my brother, man. This was my homie. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? What's going on? And our roommate, Gabe was like me. He was like talking to myself in the future. Gabe had been to prison. I think he caught a body, but he already did his time and all that stuff. And we would just have like long philosophical talks, and then we would play PlayStation. This dude was just like me, but he was like 6'5", and I was used to just be enamored by how tall he was. And so we were all living together, because my mom always used to tell me, you're the company that you keep. So your friends are a reflection of you. So that used to scare me. It used to be like, I'm really like sensitive about the friends that I hang out with. And so he was like, bro, we got to kick him out. And I'm like, no way. This was because everything that
Even when he was on drugs, you felt like
I loved him. I loved him. That was my boy. That was my brother, man. I love this dude. He when you go when you I'm 3,500 miles away from home. Everything that I know, my family, my friends, my life is 3,000 miles away from me. Number one, I'm a lunatic. I'm a wild animal that has escaped out of the zoo when it comes to my mindset. So I'm that person that believes that I can climb a mountain without the rope. I'm a person that believes that I used to drive around with no driver's license, no car insurance, and no car registration. I did that for 2 years because I was just like, no one can stop me and I'm the most unstoppable thing in the world. I believe that about myself. And I can't explain it to you. It's just in my DNA. Like Brack's like, I can't quit. I feel like people are so scared to just do stuff just because they're just scared. And it's the unknown, but the unknown is what like gives me a boner. Like, let's go. Like, let's drive to California. This dude was going crazy. He would bring other tweakers to our house. And then that was my man Gabe was like, bro, he's got to go. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. So, no. So
what happened though? Let's get to it, big dog.
I know, I got to give you context. Now. So, it's February. It's February 28th, right? It just so happened that the NBA All-Star, because everything I do is football and basketball, NBA and NFL. So, I think Dwight Howard's in the dunk contest with Nate Robinson or whatever that was. And Andrew Luck defeated the Patriots. Oh, no. The Patriots defeated Andrew Luck. That was Deflategate. That is the year that Deflategate happened with the air being out of the football. And so I'm asleep. It's nighttime. We're like, bro, you got to leave. You got to get out of here. And I got like tears in my eyes because this is like really happening. And so we're like, at the end of the week, you got to go. End of the week comes. He's still there, right? And so I go to sleep. And I'm like, the dunk contest was trash. So I'm asleep. And so I'm on my stomach. If I had been on my back, I'd be dead. For real. I'm laying on my stomach. And so, because where my room was, I didn't have a door because we were doing a bunch of dumb shit. So I didn't have my door, playing beer pong and shit like that. So I had a curtain up so people could just walk in, you know. Come see me. Come talk to me. This dude walks in. He stabs me in my back. The first one is right here. And I'm like,
He stabbed you literally.
Yeah, in my back.
Where he stabbed you at?
Right here. I don't know if you can see it. My shirt's kind of tight.
He literally stabbed in the back.
He stabbed me no, not figuratively. He literally takes a paring knife and stabs me in my
all
back.
Stab wounds.
Huh?
Those are all stab
wounds. Yeah, and some of it's back knee. Sorry. Stabs me in my back. And I'm like, my brain goes to a bunch of different places. My brain is like, like when you're flipping through the channels on the TV, you're being stabbed. Oh, that hurt. This isn't really happening. Something wrong is going on. And I'm like, huh? And so I'm awake now. Now I'm like, the fuck? 2, right? 2. And a lot of people, well, they stare at me, but they stare at my hand because my hand is fucked. This finger right here doesn't bend. Because again, I'm a superhero and I'm out of control. So he stabs me over here on the other side of my shoulder and I grab the knife. I'm like, because I'm from Philly and niggas die every day. So I'm like, bro, I'm not going out like, I don't even know who it is. I don't know who it is.
You don't know who stabbed you?
I don't know who's stabbing me because it's the middle of the night. I just watched the dunk competition. I'm high, number 2. And I'm like, bro, I'm not going out like this. So the knife is like, it's serrated. So it's like in me, and I also have my hand around it. And so he pulls it out. And when he pulls it out, he slices my finger. Like, it almost got cut off, almost, but it didn't. And it you know, in the heat of the moment, I'm like, you know, my hand's bleeding. I'm still trying to use it, whatever. So he pulls it out. I can't reach behind me, obviously. And then 3, right by my spine. And then that was when my legs just like went. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, this is like, it's weird.
You can't see him?
I can't see him because the lights are off. The lights are
So
off.
he's stabbing you in the dark.
And I'm like, Gabe, Gabe. Like I'm like, bro, please let Gabe be home. Because he used to go do his thing. Please let Gabriel be home. 2, 3, and that's it. And then Gabe, the curtain, I remember this because when you turn the lights on and you're not in the room, you see it at the bottom. Curtain goes by. And it's like my legs don't work. And it's just like, it's like a bunch of different channels are on in my head of like, you can't walk, someone just stabbed you. This isn't real life. This isn't really happening. This is a bad dream. What's going on? Blood. What's up with my hand? Did someone really just stab me? So I'm turned around. Like my legs are like I'm paralyzed. I'm paralyzed, Brack. My legs do not work. I'm on my back now, and I'm like looking up. This dude looks like evil. He looks like when you go to hell. I've been there, but not literal hell. When you go there, I feel like that's what the devil's face looks like. His cheeks are like sunken all the way into his face. And his eyes are just like soulless. They're lifeless. Like his body is just like overtaken by like a demon. And his eyes have that thousand, like when somebody goes away to war and they have that 1,000-yard stare when they seen some shit. His eyes look like that. I will never forget this for the rest of my life. I'll have this on wax up in the deck. He had a gray sweatshirt on and black pants. He had on white Nike socks and his Vans, and he always used to wear those Vans. Those were his sneakers. He had my blood all the way to his neck on those white socks. And it was just like,
Who opened the door? Who turned the light on?
Gabe.
Gabe was the other one.
Yeah.
And your friend's name was what?
Daniel Johnson.
So Gabe flipped the curtain, turns the light on, and then what happened?
And I'm looking at Danny like, you're my boy. Like, when your life flashes before your eyes, right before something's about to happen, you see your past, all that stuff. I didn't see that. I saw when we went to Seal Beach and I fell asleep on the beach. I saw when we were making wax in the backyard, and he was like showing me the process of how to make wax on the pan. I saw when he bet me to drink a whole strawberry, and I was just no good for the rest of the day. I saw when we did shroomies, and he was like making sure I was good, and he always had his hand around me like, are you okay? Are you all right? Like, we're not doing this. I saw all of that. And when I like came back, I was just like, I was hurt, but I was just sad because I was like, I mean, obviously I'm gonna die, like obviously, but it's just like, I would rather if somebody had broken in and done that to me. I would rather that have happened on the street with somebody that I don't know. Well,
Danny flips the curtain.
No.
Gabe flips the curtain.
Gabe flips the curtain, and then where our kitchen is, it's double-sided, so you can go out of both ends. So he goes through the door, and he goes out of the window, and Danny.
Danny?
Yeah. And so, yeah.
So Gabe flips the curtain, turns the light on.
And it's like, it's almost like everything is happening in slow motion. So Gabe comes in, and while he's flipping the curtain, I'm like turning around, and I'm like, bro, I can't walk. And like, I'm thinking in my mind, like, bro, my dad's gonna be pissed. So I'm like, I'm having all of these emotions at the same time, like a car accident. And so he sees Gabe, his eyes like go, and he takes off, like, bro, he takes off, he's gone. And what really confused me to this day, you've seen Compton on TV, there's bars on the windows. There's like, that's really how Compton is. He did something and he goes out the window of the room. I don't know if it was like premeditated or what, if he loosened it beforehand or whatever it was, but this nigga he left the window open. The bars are swinging like a door. They were like aqua green, and they're just like swinging. And I'm like, yo, what? So then, Gabe calls the police. So, I'm like, well, it's over now. Like, now we play the waiting game. Now it's just a matter of time before the inevitable. And that's what I thought. I was like, this is it. Like, this is 25. This is what I get. This was the first of 3 events. There were 3 events in my life that turned me around.
Leading up to 25 years old when this happened, prior to that, did you do anything in your life that caused that to happen?
Yeah. Not him.
Not him.
People that know me, like know what my past is like, people will always ask me, did you do something to double cross him? No.
Not him, but in your life.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm asking.
I was a bad person. I was a bad guy. You see those people on TV that call up like old people and say your refrigerator's running, send us money? I was that type of dude. I will run in your bank account and I'll take all your money out of it. And you won't even know that it was me. Prior to that, I was with a girl, Brack, I was with a woman, right? I was with a woman. I love this girl. I deceived a car dealership out of a brand new car for this girl because we went to the movies. We went to go see the Fast and the Furious, whichever one it was, and everybody laughed at me in front of her because I was late. I took the wrong bus and I got there. This shit still pisses me off. I got there late. I took the 4 and I should have took another bus. All of my friends laughed at me when I got there because I got there late, because I took the bus, because my other 2 friends had cars. And I could see in her eyes that she felt some type of way. The very next day, I had other shit I had to go do. I went and I got a new car. Like, I was just so...
It gave you that to go get that car?
Yes, but it wasn't even the car. It was just the fact of, I can do this. Like, you don't even know what I'm capable of. Like, people that go to prison for, like, murdering people, and people are like, fucking with them, blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, you don't even know. I'll take you out. Like, I'll get you the fuck out of here. When I used to do shit, it wasn't a matter of, is this going to work? Am I going to be able to accomplish this? Am I going to be able to get out of here? It was a thing of, I have the audacity to do it because I believe that I can do it because, number 1, I'm smarter than you, and number 2, I've had the idea. You can't turn me around now. So I have stolen from people. I've stolen from my parents. But that's because I was a wild bear in the forest looking for food. Not literally, but metaphorically. I was an animal. And I used to take shit so personal. And when they laughed at me, I was already out of high school. This isn't even counting all the shit I did while I was in high school. I used to sell report cards. I used to sell the report cards and the progress reports to other students to the point where the school, after I graduated, called me and said, are you still involved in this? Because we've got somebody else doing it. And I said, no, I'm not involved in that anymore.
They knew you did that?
They called my dad to the school while I was mowing the grass, and he was like, get your ass in here. I was too old to get beat, but it was just the thing of like, I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed. And that was just enough for me. But I used to sell the report cards back to the school, back to the students in the school. And that was how I used to get money. Because I was like, brothers, no way.
Sorry.
It's okay. And so I just like, from that point on, I knew what I was capable of. I knew that I was just a cut above everybody else. I used to buy gold on the internet for $30, and Brack never took it serious. Nah.
Hey, tell that story.
I used to buy gold on. Man, I laugh a lot. I laugh to myself all the time because people talk about the dark web and you can do this on the dark web and blah 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 blah. Man, people don't even understand, like, you can buy a child on the dark web. You can buy a kidney. You can buy whatever you want, a handgun. You could buy a bird in the mail and get it shipped to your house. And people always talk about identity theft. Man, that's light work. So when I got stabbed, it was like, this is what you get. You've done enough. I remember. I was working at Domino's and I stole $700 from Domino's. And they had me on camera and they still didn't get me. You talking about an ego? But again, I was with that same girl. This is when Peyton Manning, this was the year that Peyton Manning went to the Super Bowl with the Broncos and they played the Seahawks and they got blown out in the first 2 quarters. And I didn't get to see it because I was at Popeyes getting food for that girl. And I missed it. And it's just like, I just take shit personal. I take it personally. And instead of me doing it in a constructive way, I fuck with other people. So I had moved into an apartment. I deceived that lady to get into the apartment. It's not that I didn't have the money. I didn't have the rental history because I was living with fucking Ronald. And my dad was, he was always home. Trying to knock her off.
So you get stabbed.
Yeah, I'm saying to give you context. So I'm like, this is my life. This is what I deserve. This is what I get. And I was cool with that. Like, as fucked up as it sounds, I was all right with that. I was like, you know what? You live fast and you die young. Because that's where I'm from. I'm from Philly, where you catch a body on a Tuesday. That's just what it is. And the first thing in my mind was my dad is going to be, if I make it out of here, my dad is going to be really mad at me. My dad's going to be so mad at me. I wasn't thinking about him worried about my life or anything like that. I'm like, yo, my dad is going to fucking ground me for the rest of my life. I'm in so much trouble right now with my parents. It's ridiculous. Like, I had just broken a window with a baseball. My mom wanted me to come home immediately. And again, after I got stabbed, because my aunt it was crazy because my aunt was already out there. Bro, my aunt she is a maverick. I don't even know. She was like, what the fuck? She went out, she's a great chef. She went out there to go be on Beat Bobby Flay. Excuse me. She didn't beat Bobby Flay, but whatever. She's better than Bobby anyway. So she was already out there. So she comes to see me at the hospital. The first thing that I say to my roommate, Gabe, is, bruh, lie to her. Do not tell her what happened. I'm like, yo, she's going to come by the house, clean up the house, clean up. Like, not even my blood. Like, bruh, put the clothes away. You know how niggas live. Bruh, clean up. Like, spray some shit. The first 48 hours in the hospital, I'm not even worried about myself. I'm worried about what are other people going to say? What are other people going to do? And I couldn't even walk. I got into the hospital. The first thing that I told the doctor, I said, bro, take my phone. Take it and take a photo of me so I can send this to my homies. Take a photo of me so I can send this back home and let these niggas know that your boy is out here, okay? Man, blood. You seen the photo? Blood dripping all down. I just bought that sweatshirt. I love that Eric Crump. They had to cut it off of me. Blood dripping all down my back, and so I'm like, yo, take a photo for the homies. So they know that when a real one goes, that he went in a real way. And he's like, yo, you're crazy. And I was like, yeah, just get on the bandwagon. Just take the fucking photo. I'm in the hospital. I'm on the morphine. I'm like, bro, take me off of the morphine. Oh, and I remember. I went in the hospital on Sunday into Monday, right? All the tests, whatever. I can't walk. I'm still worried about, bro, my dad is going to kill me. No pun intended. My dad is going to murder me. And so I get my legs back on Wednesday. It's like March 3rd. I'm at the Martin Luther King Rehabilitation Center in Compton, California. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. Because I went to California to, for lack of a better term, prove people wrong. And somebody stabbed me in my back. I'm paralyzed from the waist down. I can't feel my ding-a-ling, my toes, my knees, none of that. I'm like, yo, hook your boy up with a wheelchair. Let's get this show on the road, okay? Because I'm obviously not going to die. I got shit I got to do. There's still shit on the list. I stayed out in L.A. for another 9 months after getting stabbed. Because I take that shit personal. The same feeling that I got when I got laughed at going to the movie theater late is that same feeling that I got when I got stabbed and I didn't die. And everybody was like, see, I fucking told you. No. God, no. Sorry. I did the paycheck paperwork thing, and I got into this nice house in downtown LA, where the 4th Street Bridge is, where they filmed Fast and the Furious. I was living right down the street from there in this 2-story house, again, with this girl that I was in a relationship with because I'm still young and I'm out of control and I'm like,
Fresh out the hospital.
yes. And I didn't
Downtown.
take my meds. I didn't take my medication because that feeling, I never want to forget that feeling. Never, ever in my life. Because it's a reminder to not do it again. When I said I called my mom because I knew my mom was just going to be. When I said I had pain, it was like an elevator. It would go from my ankles all the way up through my butt, through my back, and up to the back of my head. It would turn. It would go around, and it would come down. And I didn't take my meds for like the first week. I mean, I got stitches in my hand, stitches in my back. I'm emotionally distraught. But I'm like, I'm not taking my meds. I'm not taking the painkillers. I'm never gonna forget this. This is just who I am. I'm just like, you are punishing yourself right now. This is what you get. You're a fucking idiot. So now you're gonna sit here and you're gonna learn today. And my mom's like, take your medication, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, I'm never gonna forget this feeling. This is internally, this is inside of me.
When did you start walking again?
As soon as I left the hospital. I could walk when I left the hospital.
Oh, okay.
I got my feeling, so I got stabbed on a Sunday, right? I got my feeling back on a Wednesday. And so I did rehab for literally a day. Because I've been walking for the last 25 years. I know how to walk. I haven't been paralyzed that long. So I get it back. I got a little bit of a limp. I still have a little bit of a limp. But I was like, I got shit to do. I can't stay here. Shout out to Martin Luther King and his rehabilitation center. But I'm a jackal. I'm a wild animal out here. I gotta go. And I continued, that was one of 3 things that happened in my life, and that was when I started to draw it back. That was the first time that I pulled back. So I wasn't necessarily involved in scamming people and stuff like that, but I was still doing little bullshit things here and there to make some money. I was making IDs and shit like that. Not really hurting anybody, just to get a couple dollars. But I'm not stealing identities and shit like that anymore, or cashing bad checks and all that stuff. And so I'm like, all right, and I'm with this girl. She was fucking bad. And I'm like, we're gonna be together forever. And then she's with a whole bunch of dudes at the same time, and we all meet up on Facebook, and it's I did something bad. I don't remember what I did, but I did something bad, and I got our rent money, my rent money. And I was like, here, I need you to take this and go pay the lady. I gave, your situation. I gave her the money, Brack. I gave her the fucking $500. I transferred it from my account to her account. She was like, where did you get this money from, Marcel? And that was my fault, though. That was my fault. Because I always looked at it as a trophy. I don't have any money, and then I would just produce money just out of nowhere in a matter of hours. That was my fault because I always felt like I was cool. That was cool for me to do. She was like, Marcel, where did you get all this money from? And I'm like, I'm Mufasa out here in the jungle, all right? Don't ask me questions that you don't want the answer to. And I gave her the money. I'm like, go pay Miss Rodriguez. She went shopping.
What do you think she was going to do with the money?
She went shopping. It shows up on our thing because she used my debit card. Nordstrom's, fucking Kohl's, Ross. Listen, kudos to her for saving money, okay?
When the dude took, when the guy took the money from me, that money was supposed to go towards the bills at the house. So I ain't had nothing.
Oh my God.
And then I got Miss Hernandez on my ass, and then I got kids who they need a place to stay, motherfucker, where you?
But that's why I say everything goes in a circle.
But at the end of the day,
but listen.
I feel like everything's gonna be good.
No, but listen. She lied about it. Yeah. And that's what I was saying earlier. When you lie to somebody, you know that they know, and they know that you know. You went shopping, and you continue to say that you don't know what happened to it. We got 48 hours to get out of this place, or we're screwed. I don't even remember where we went after that, to be totally honest with you. I can't even remember what happened. Oh, that was when I went to Fresno. Yeah. That was when I had to tap out. When I went to Fresno and I was scamming to stay in the motel that I was in. I was like, brother,
She still with you?
no, she wasn't.
Is it better to be alone or with someone
When you are,
when you're on that journey?
when you're on that journey, listen, it's like anything. If you're trying to be a rock star, if you're trying to be a corporate takeover CEO person, the person that's with you will make your journey 100 times harder or 100 times easier. I don't understand why rappers are with women and the woman is holding them down. She going down on you when you want her to go down on you. She making the breakfast. She taking the kids here and there. You get a couple $1 million, now you with so-and-so with the fake titties and all of this other shit. And her mental state is fucked up because people have told her that she looks good all of her life, so she don't know what heartbreak looks like. That's another story. When the person that you're with, your friends, we're not even talking about somebody you humping on. Your friends that you keep with you, that are around you every day, for lack of a better term, will stab you in the bag. Whether you get money, whether you think you're smarter than them or not. I never, ever treated Daniel. I would always say, like, bro, I'm so smart and blah, 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 blah. But I would always take him with me. I would always bring that nigga with me on the journey.
What happened to him?
He is doing 25 to life in a California penitentiary because of that. And that's another thing that there's a lot of things that keep me awake at night.
You go visit him and talk to him?
Yeah.
Like,
I would try to break him out of there.
yo,
Not literally. I would cry. I would want to touch his hand. There's a lot of stuff that keeps me awake in the middle of the night, and these are the type of things that make me not able to sleep or just wake up. I would love for him to walk through the door and just touch his hand or put my hand on his shoulder and be like, why did you do that to me? What were you thinking? I saw him in the courtroom and I couldn't even look at him, man. I like glanced over, but he didn't look. He didn't look at me. I think when I was training my head, he was looking at me. I think it's just that mutual understanding, or that when it's what's understood don't gotta be said. I'm just like, why did you do this to me? Why? And I couldn't. My friend was like, bro, you sent them away, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is the type of things that I deal with in my brain on a daily basis. Of like, somebody tried to kill me. Somebody tried to murder me. I've had people threaten my life a bunch of times. It's no big deal. I don't care. But it was just like the connection that me and Danny had and the shit that we had been through together. I mean, not like trying to be gay, but it was like, bro, we were a power couple. We were one and the same. And he had broke the stereotypes because he was all fucking tatted up and you know, doing his thing and all that stuff. And I'm like, it makes me feel some type of way because I'm like, his life is over.
He was on drugs, right?
He was on drugs. And that's another thing. It's like, that's what brings me back to this whole beginning of the circle. Whatever you're going through, if you don't have somebody there with you to be like, hey man, don't do that. Or a role model in your life to be like, you don't deal with shit like that. I feel bad because he, for whatever reason, I would talk to him all the time and be like, man, I want to get with this girl. I don't feel like I can do it because I look like this. My dad is getting on my nerves. But I would talk to him about everything. And it's just like, you didn't feel like you could talk to me like that? Like, what did I do? Like, these are the things that keep me awake at night. It's a whole menu of stuff. And then when the menu is over, it restarts again from the top. It's like if you did something crazy to me, and I'd be like, Bragg, we've been through so much together. Like, why would you do me like that? And then that's why I say, like, bro, I wouldn't literally, but I would break him out. Like, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. But, you know, you got the police and the Gabe is there and you know, it's like, you know, well, who did it? Well, who the fuck do you think did it? I'm on the ground bleeding out of my back. This is it for me. You having a fucking, the policeman is like having a fucking casual conversation with the other cop, like, nigga, I'm fucking dying on the floor. Okay, that's another story. And I was looking for it in the news. I'm like, it's not like you rob a bank and you've got a mask on, and it like takes a little bit of like detective work to figure out who it is. You got gloves on, they can't get your fingerprints. You had to know that by the process of elimination, I can't stab myself. And if I'm calling Gabe for help, it only leaves one other person. And I'm like, that was stupid of you. Number one, if you're gonna commit a crime, like, do it the right way. But like, now I'll never see you again. I'll never get to talk to you. You're in jail for so long that your daughter is gonna be our age when you get out. Even if you get parole or you get out on good behavior, your daughter is gonna be our age, literally, when she gets to speak to you again. And again, with the circle, that completes the entire, because now she doesn't have a father now. Her father is in jail for a crime and shit like that. She growing up in a bad neighborhood. She's already, because she's a minority in the United States of America, she's a minority. So she's already behind the 8 ball. None of this is new. This is nothing new happening. None of this is anything that we've never seen before. You just experience it at a different part of the circle. So whether you're at the bottom and you're broke, you're at the top and you got money, you're over here and you lose a parent, or you're over here and you're on your way to the top. Nothing is new. So now, by the time that girl gets out of college, graduated, got her own family, she got her own shit she got to deal with. Because my father wasn't around. He wasn't around. He was in jail. It's the same thing. The reason I went and bought that car. No one to tell me, Marceau, don't take it that serious. Don't go there. Don't do that. My dad wasn't there. He was in a rehab facility. I already have this. I have this brain. I always say it's my cross to bear. It's my gift and my curse. I can ruin your life or I can make you a superstar. My brain is already just on another level, even with all of my self-esteem and all that other shit. When it comes to crunch time, guess what? LeBron's putting up 50 to take us to the finals. It is what it is.
Yeah, man. Let's that's deep. I didn't even know a lot of that stuff about that situation. I didn't. Don't do it. What?
Man, it might be because I'm so short. I'm only 5'3". So like, as soon as I got him,
No.
shit is a pain.
Well, let's switch it a little bit and talk about what's future. You know what I'm saying? Where you see yourself in a year from now, 2 years from now.
I don't think that far ahead. I don't. I'm very superstitious, like super superstitious. So I'm always thinking in weeks and months. So right now, the farthest that my brain goes is December, because 2022. Partially because in 2020 we lost Kobe Bryant, which is another, and then the coronavirus, and George Floyd and all this other stuff. And I went through a very, this is another thing. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I went through a very deep, dark depression. I have very low self-esteem because of the way that I look. I am extremely self-conscious whenever I enter a public place because I'm not cool. I'm not. I don't care about music. I listen to Tina Marie. Shout out to Tina Marie. I was never cool because when I was in high school, I always thought to myself, in the blink of an eye, I'm not going to see y'all anymore. I'm not going to see any of you anymore. Even my homies that we were cool and we used to skip school, we didn't go drink and smoke cigarettes. We used to go to Best Buy and sit in the home theater section and watch a movie. I've just never been that type of dude. So when I go to like a party or I go to like a setting or like a kickback, and man, I used to go to kickbacks in California, little 10-year-olds would be like doing cocaine. I was like, whoa. But that was just me out in the jungle. But I'm not that type of person to be like in this, like when you're gonna be on the show today, I'm like, oh no, call somebody else. I'm not that type of person. But that is what makes me unorthodox. In my mind, in my head, I'm Clark Kent in the phone booth. I'm LeBron on the court. But when my outward persona is like, I like to stay home and I'm quiet and I'm to myself. That's why I play so many video games. Because when I play physically, I can't do what I always wanted to go to the league. I always wanted to play. I don't know if I told you this. I always wanted to play professional basketball. Always. Even if I had to come off the bench, I just wanted to play just for like a season. Sign me to a 10-day contract. But one time when I was in the 4th grade, I got all C's on my report card. And my dad said that I couldn't play basketball. And unbeknownst to him, I don't even know if he knows, but unbeknownst to him, that just like really just mentally just did something to me. And so I always lived in like this state of fear as far as school and shit like that and playing a sport, because I was just like, bro, like if I don't get the grades, I'm gonna get yanked out of here. Like I'm not gonna be able to do it. And then I would always like go play like in the park and shit like that, but I've never played like sanctioned, organized basketball, because there's like so much that you have to be like, it's like being successful. It's like you can't really have any outside noise. You can only do that. And I've had so much outside noise. And I've only had this mindset for like the last like 3 or 4 years, like after I lost my mom, and then after the coronavirus, and then George Floyd, and it's like, you think that racism is over, and like, no, it's not over. Like, me and Brock, we were in a situation at Costco that time with Kiki, and the lady's like, where are your parents? But she doesn't know that Kiki doesn't like to talk to people, so she thinks that she's being abducted, and like, no, don't go with these black guys over here. Like, it's a lot of shit. Like, I've always wanted to play professional basketball, but that's why I play video games, because in my mind, I can take over a game. I don't have to be big and strong. I don't have to be tall and stout and all that other stuff. I can take you over with my brain. I can use my strategy and stuff like that. And that's what I do. That's why I want to be a professional video game player, because it's the same thing. Like you're talking about Alex and oh my bad, your kid, sorry. He wants to play video games. My grandma used to say, she's still alive. My grandma would say, whatever you do, do it to the best of your ability. If you clean floors, if you take the grout out of people's tiles, if you clean fingernails, you do it to the best of your ability so that no one else can do it. People are winning $5 million, $2 million, $10 million, $50 million playing video games. It's the same as being on a contract in the NBA. You close out the outside world, you go to practice, you put your shots up, you come home, you study. You don't get out of it. That is how you become successful. It just so happens that the Lord has cursed me. I'm cursed because I'm good at graphic design. I'm good at photography. I'm good at video. I'm good at marketing and advertising. And I know how to speak to people. For as introverted and as not want to go anywhere as I am, if somebody wanted to start a conversation with me, I could talk forever and keep them interested. So that in a giant tornado martini it's a disaster in my head all the time, always. But it's like when I do it for other people, it's so easy. It's so easy. I could just dish it out. I'm just uber creative. I could just give it away. But it's like anything. You're weightlifting. And you're like, I want to go be Mr. Olympia. You don't sit on the couch and eat fucking Cheez-Its all day. You gotta go to the gym. Like, but to people that don't understand it, you're crazy. You're obsessed. You have a problem. There are other things in the world but if I was playing football or if I was trying to like get my GED or become a lawyer, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't have that type of mentality. So I say all of that to say this. Everything is a circle, because even if you're the type of person that is afraid what other people think and you think that you're too old or you're too short or your mother passed away or you don't have the tools, something as simple as just saying, I don't know where to get started. That's for everybody else. I don't know how to. Well, stop somebody from mowing their grass, let alone building a business, let alone building a brand. I'm on the other side of that. I don't know how. that is what pushes me further into the, like, bro, I used to go to haunted houses and be scared as fuck. But I would go in there because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Like, I know that you're an actor, because I'm smart. I know that you're an actor, so I'm not, like, that scared. But, like, I want to see your makeup. Like, I want to see, are you committed to the role? What does the haunted house look like? Is it really haunted? Did you put decorations up? Like, I'm over analyzing everything about it. So when somebody says, Marcel, let's go to California, let's fucking go to California. Come on, let's go. Like,
We're not going to Cali. Maybe in the future. But want to close this out. Interesting story. We definitely need to do an episode 2. Or yeah, this is the first episode with us, but we need to do a second coming because I have so many more questions to ask. But what I want to say before I close this out, I have a good friend of mine, Ashley Anderson. I wanted to say my heart goes out to you and your family. I know that you just lost your grandmother to COVID and complications. I want to send out my condolences to your mother, to your family, to you. I'm always here for you. I texted you earlier today and told you that, but I'm always here for you if you need me. And stay in prayer. Stay. Your grandmother's with you at all times, just like I say to Marceau all the time, that his mother is with him all the time. She's an angel in the room, so she is protecting you, and she's looking over you and making sure that you're going in the right direction. But yeah, my heart goes out to you. I love you. Prayers to you and your family. And thank everybody for watching the.
Still watching, man. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
My man's name at the bottom. But that's because I'm in front of the camera, not behind you.
Yes. Shout out to Unorthodox Genius, Marceau, Bo Speedman, for coming on to the show last minute. We do have some special guests coming in this week.
Hopefully. Okay.
We have Miss Cooking with Coop coming on the show. We also.
If you want to be on the show, man, come on.
Yeah, come on to the show.
Anymore. So please, let's go.
Miss Cooking with Coop is coming on the show. We're going to ask her a lot of questions about her career and her passions. Hopefully get some food. Yes, she had a podcast going for a little while. But we'll find out. We'll find out what happened. And then also we have Baby T coming on the show. Geeked Up. She's a producer, rapper. She does a lot of things. Camera, everything. So, yeah, hopefully we get Will. If anybody sees Will Simmons out there, tell him to call me. We got some special guests coming up, so you guys stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching the BRAKKI BRAZZLE Show. God bless everyone, and thanks to Marceau for coming on. Peace.
I also want to give a shout out to my dad and my brothers, all right? To my brother in the next room and to my dad. If my dad is watching, because today would be the day where he just happens to tune in and then he blows my phone up about talking shit. He made me who I am, all right? In a good way. So just, call your parents and tell them you love them, all right?
Peace.